Hello guys, welcome to the fifth session on time, speed and distance. We have got good questions this session as well, and let's start with this one. Bipasha and Malika leave towns Kolkata and Ambala at 6 a.m. and travel towards Ambala and Kolkata respectively. Speed of Bipasha is 60 km per hour and speed of Malika is 120 km per hour. Rani leaves Kolkata for Ambala sometime later and travels at a speed of 90 km per hour. If the distance between Kolkata and Ambala is 1080 km and all three meet at the same point on the way at same time, then at what time did Rani leave Kolkata? So let us draw the figure. Assume this to be Kolkata and this to be Ambala. Bipasha starts from here and Malika starts from here. And both of them start exactly at what time? 6 a.m. Both of them start at 6 a.m. from their respective places towards the other destination. Now Rani leaves after some time, right? It's mentioned in the question that she travels at 90 km per hour and she leaves sometime later, but she reaches the point where both Bipasha and Malika reach at the same time, right? All three meet at the same point of time. Consider this is that point. Okay, let this be M. So what are the speeds given? Rani's speed is given as 90 km per hour. Bipasha's speed is given as 60 and Malika's speed is 120 km per hour. All three meet at a point M, right, at the same time. So we can find out what is the time taken by Bipasha and Malika to reach this meeting point, right? How can we do this? Both of them start at the same time and they meet at a certain point. That means the time taken is same. Time taken is same because they meet at a certain point at a time and they had started at the same time, 6 a.m. So time taken is constant. Correct? So the speed ratio will be same as distance ratio. Okay, or you can also say this entire distance 1080 kilometer, this entire distance of 1080 kilometer will be covered by Bipasha and Malika in the same ratio as their speeds. And what is the speed ratio? 60 is to 120. You know the speed of Bipasha is 60 and Malika's speed is 120. So what is the ratio? 1 is to 2. That means 1080 kilometer, the entire distance traveled by both, right? Both meet at a particular point. So entire distance is covered by both in the same ratio as their speed, which is 1 is to 2. That means you can say Bipasha covers one part and Malika covers two parts. So you can say Bipasha has covered 1/3 of the entire part. 1/3 of the entire part, and that is 1080 kilometer, right? What is 1/3 of entire part? 360 kilometer. So you can say this distance is 360 kilometer. Thus, this distance will be 720 km. Together they will make 1080. Okay. Now, to cover this 360 km, how much time does Bipasha take? To cover 360 km, how much time will Bipasha take? Distance divided by Bipasha's speed, which is 60 km per hour. This will give you 6 hours. Thus, you can say that if Bipasha started at 6 am and she took 6 hours to cover this 360 km or to meet Mallika at this point, okay, what was the time when they met each other? They met at exactly 12 pm. 6 am plus 6 hours, 12 pm. So at 12 pm, Bipasha, Mallika and Rani, all three meet at point M, which is the meeting point. Okay. Bipasha takes 6 hours. So 12 pm is the meeting time. 12 pm is the meeting time. What is our question? The question is, at what time does Rani leave Kolkata? Now, what is the total distance? Rani also leaves Kolkata, right? And she meets everyone at point M. What is the distance that Rani travels? Rani travels 360 kilometers, same as what Bipasha has covered. Okay. But what is her speed? Her speed is 90 km per hour. Rani is faster because she started late and met everyone here at point M. What is the time taken? 4 hours. How? 360 divided by distance divided by speed is nothing but the time taken. So Rani takes only 4 hours. Okay. And she reaches at what time? 12 pm. If she reached at 12 pm and she took 4 hours, that means she had started at what time? 8 am. She must have started at 8 am from Kolkata so that she could cover 360 km in 4 hours to meet everyone at point M. This is what our question had asked for. So what we did is we found out what is the distance covered by Bipasha, and which we got as 360 km. 360 km is nothing but 1/3 of the entire distance. Why did we do 1/3? Because the distance covered by Bipasha and the distance covered by Mallika would be in the same ratio as their speeds. Their speed ratio was 1:2. That's why Bipasha will cover 1/3 and Mallika will cover 2/3 of the entire distance of 1080. Once we got 360 km, we found out that Bipasha takes 6 hours to cover this distance of 360 km. So after 6 am, 6 hours, we get 12 pm as the time when everyone meets at point M. If 12 pm is the time when Rani was also there, we backtracked and find out that Rani takes 4 hours to cover this distance of 360 km. So 12 pm minus 4 hours, Rani must have started at 8 am from Kolkata to meet everyone at point M. Hope you understood the solution. So our answer would be option B, 8 am. Let's take the next question. A passenger sitting in a train of length 100 meter, which is running with speed of 60 km per hour, passing through 2 bridges, notices that he crosses the first bridge and the second bridge in the time intervals which are in the ratio 7:4. If the length of first bridge be 280 meter, then the length of the second bridge is, and we have been given 4 options here. Now if you observe this question, there are 2 bridges, okay, and this person who is sitting in a train, suppose he is sitting here and this is the train. If he says that the train is crossing the bridge, then we have to find out the time as the total distance covered, which will be equal to the bridge length, plus the length of the train, okay, and divided by the speed given, 60. Consider this is the time for the first one. And how about the second one? The bridge length B2 plus length of the train L by 60. Okay. Bridge lengths are given. So you can consider the bridge length to be B2 for the second one, because we have been asked about the second bridge. Correct? So you can see that T1 will be equal to 100 plus length of the train. What is the length of the train? Length of the train is 100 and bridge length is 280 meter. 100 plus 280 divided by 60. How about the second one? The time 2 is bridge length. Bridge length is not given, so we will assume it to be B2 plus 100 divided by 60. Time ratio is given. Time ratio is given as 7:7 by 4. So this ratio will be same as 100 plus 280 divided by B2 plus 100. So this value will be 7B2 plus 700 is equal to, this is 380 into 4. What is the value of 380 into 4? 1420. 7B2 will be equal to 720. You see the speed of the train, the length of the bridge 2 is 720 by 7, which is coming as some 102 point something, which is not there in the answer sheet. So where did we exactly go wrong? The problem of this question is, and which must be noticed, is the word he. So what we have taken here is, we have found out the times with respect to the train crossing the bridges. When you consider the train to be crossing the bridge, you will have to add the bridge length plus the train length, which we did here. Correct? But if you look at the question, it says a passenger sitting in a train and he notices that he crosses the first bridge. He crosses. It is not the train but he. We assumed the below answer with an assumption that train crosses the bridge, but it is not the case. It is he who crosses the bridge. When you consider this single point or the person which is having negligible width or distance compared to the bridge length, you will have to only consider the length of the bridge. You should not consider the length of the train because it is clearly mentioned in the question. So in this case, what is our T1? Correct T1 will be length of the bridge B1, okay, which is 280, the first bridge length, divided by the speed, which is 60. T2 equal to bridge length B2 divided by speed 60. In fact, we did not have to do the 60 thing, because since speed is constant, time ratio will be same as distance ratio. So you can directly write that if the speed ratio is 7:4, okay, and one of the bridge length is given as 280, you should understand 280 is nothing but 40 times 7. So 40 times of 4 will be 160. So your bridge length will be 160 meter. Now we get an answer C as one of the value. Hope you understood the